And everybody hear me. All right, I see Rich here. I see Doom here. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining the stream. You hope the keyboard and the mouse clicks don't aren't too overbearing. Had to turn off the noise gate so you can actually hear the music. I just got a new microphone for Christmas, so there's some new software and stuff that I get to play around with that can let me patch in different sounds, and I can control the levels a lot better. All right, make sure I have everything set. All right. Okay, let's get started. So today, I'm here because they just announced a new book. They announced Candlekeep Mysteries and an anthology book collecting 17 adventures, mystery centered. So what I wanted to do today is go over some character ideas. So everybody doesn't show up with a Sherlock Holmes character to their table. So I'll remind, this is not a sponsored. I know this might sound like I'm shilling for WotC, but this is not a sponsored stream. It is currently 12 p.m., so it's noon right here on the west coast of the USA. Okay, so some information about Candlekeep Mysteries. This releases in March on the 16th. Again, there's 17 adventures ranging from levels 1 to 16. We have some familiar faces behind the adventures. Notable ones that I immediately picked up on are it's Mark Humes from High Rollers. You have Jennifer Kretschmer. She plays on D&D Beyond Silver and Steel live play show. We have Daniel Kwan from Asian Represents on YouTube, which I recommend checking out. And then Amy Vorpal from Geek and Sundry. And then there's also Christopher Perkins, did write an adventure, and then there's a bunch of other creators ranging from the spectrum. And a lot of them are full-time designers and game creators, so the story should be interesting, the adventures that play through. One of the focuses on the live stream I wanted to do again was go over character ideas, mainly drawing inspiration from TV tropes, detective and mystery shows and movies. I wanted to also talk about the product itself, also go over my concerns and discuss with you guys what you think is going to be in this book. And then also at the end, I just wanted to do a small update about what's going on with the channel and my plans going forward on 2021 this year. Okay, so with Candlekeep Mysteries, we know this book is all adventures, and it's all supposed to be mystery adventures. But there isn't really, it's not really clear on what they mean by mystery. By nature, most adventures set in that are published are sort of mystery in nature. So you have the standard, you show up to town, something weird happens, and your adventurers are tasked with trying to figure out what's happening, which is the basic structure of any mystery. So I don't know if it's going to still follow that same path, and they're just slapping on the mystery name on it, and it's not like Wizards hasn't done this before. When they released or announced Waterdeep Dragon Heist, everybody thought that we were going to get an adventure module where we were doing a heist, and that turned out to be more of a treasure hunt. So that's one of the things I'm kind of concerned. Exactly what do they mean by mystery? Is it going to be investigative? Because D&D 5th edition doesn't really lend itself on its own to investigative gameplay unless there's a lot of homebrew involved, and it's in nature due to the magic system. Obviously, you can just if things aren't structured in a way that doesn't take into account for magic, it your mystery, if you're trying to solve a murder or something, pretty much can get solved within maybe like the first 10 minutes of things being set up. You know, you have spells like talk with dead, speak with the dead. Then you can just at higher levels, just raise dead. And then you have a bunch of other divination and necromancy based spells that can kind of mess everything up. Yeah, see, Rich, that's what I'm wondering too. If we are going to get like a whodunit mystery, because it needs to be structured in a way that would fit within the base rules of the game. And I'm not really, unfortunately, I'm not confident that Wizards is going to pull it off. I have a feeling it's going to be more along the lines of of what you would traditionally see in an adventure. You show up to a place, X thing happens, but you don't know why, so you need to find out the why. Yeah, see, I could see that happening too. They do base a little bit more on the arcane and fantastical nature of D&D. I could see them maybe doing with like magic items or something like that. Another thing, though, I'm really concerned about when it comes to this book is when people or players think mystery. Obviously, you go straight to investigative, but like I mentioned right at the start of the stream, everybody will probably bring a Sherlock Holmes character to the table. So what I'm wondering is if everybody's bringing the same character to the table, what does that do to the play structure in the game if everybody's doing the same thing, and if these adventures are going to take into account all the different classes and subclasses, and making sure that each role has an active part in the adventure. Fighters are pretty linear on what their goal is. So are those melee martial fighters still or martial characters in general, are going to still have a role in these type of adventures? Subclasses help out a lot, but if you look at the fighter, they don't necessarily have an investigative sort of based subclass. While on the other hand, you have a rogue, where you have the Inquisitive Rogue, which is your Sherlock Holmes character. And then by the very nature of like wizards and clerics, they have enough subclasses where they can fit into these sort of detective type character ideas. I wouldn't be surprised, Rich, if they did do that. The last two anthology books, what was it? They released the first one they released, which kicked kind of all this off, was Tales from the Yawning Portal, but nothing was really connected. It was just an update to a bunch of old dungeons. They didn't really suggest. I have that book, and I don't remember them suggesting how to string these dungeons all along to make it seem like they're all cohesive. I know, or for what I've seen, people have done with Ghost of Saltmarsh. I don't own that one yet, but there was it was structured in a way that you could play this as like one big campaign, even though the idea was to use those adventures as a drop-in, a plug-and-play sort of thing for your main campaign, especially if you're out at sea. I have a feeling Candlekeep will kind of be more in vein of Saltmarsh, because these sort of anthology books have been really successful. But I think this one is the first one that they're not reprinting any material. So these, as far as I know, I haven't seen anything that says otherwise, that this is all brand new adventures, which is cool. But since you have so many different authors contributing to the book, have a feeling they're going to make them loosely tied together. What did you guys really think of the book, or the announcement, at least so far? This book be out in a couple months too. It's going to be pretty quick. Sorry, I had to cough a little bit. Okay. So yeah, that's Candlekeep. It isn't the setting book we were kind of guessing, maybe hoping would happen. I know setting books are kind of on the way this year. We're supposed to get several setting books this year from what they've said, but with COVID, the pandemic still happening, I'm not sure if those projects have gotten pushed back just a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what Magic the Gathering setting they're gonna publish soon, and then which old setting books or classic settings from the D&D franchise they're gonna bring in. My guess for classic D&D, they've been really trying to get Dark Sun off the ground. So now with some psionics being printed in Tasha's, I wouldn't be surprised that they do sort of shortcut and bring in a Dark Sun eventually. And then for Magic the Gathering, I would have, if this book didn't announce, I was going to assume they were going to announce Kaldheim as a setting book. D&D as a franchise doesn't have a Viking Norse influence setting. And especially with Rime of the Frost Maiden just being released, it would have been like a good couple of books of having to combine together a bit to give you sort of that icy frost, living in the Arctic sort of setting and surviving. Let's see. Yep. Random 2872 says NTG crossover maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're getting one. And then Rich doesn't think Dark Sun's gonna happen because it's too edgy for the kids. And then I really think Spelljammer's on the way too. I'm not sold on Dragonlance. I'm not sold on Dragonlance or Greyhawk because aesthetically, if you just look at them as an outsider looking in, and if you're putting Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, and then Greyhawk together, I don't know if there's enough difference between them, even though because they are what I would consider classic or traditional high fantasy settings. Obviously, you get into the settings, there is there's nuances to all of them. But I don't know if that's going to be big enough to sell books. I know Dragonlance has a super dedicated fan base. That's why a lot of people in my own Discord and a couple other Discords I'm in are love the fact that the lawsuit has been dropped and that novels are on the way and are back on schedule. Planescape, I can see that too. Planescape and Spelljammer, I think they're going to have to choose between either of them. Planescape is probably the safest one because they don't have to really work too much to get that set up. Spelljammer, they would have to include a bunch of rules on how ships and how the actual travel will work. And with Planescape, they don't really have to do any of that. They can just focus on the setting itself. So it really depends on what they want to do. Like Spelljammer, I would say is a possibility because it would add a new dynamic and new mechanics into the game. But it really just depends if Wizards is not pushing into that direction. As long as it's not a Kingdom Hearts crossover, happy. There isn't a big enough book to not make Kingdom Hearts convoluted. So I'm pretty sure we're not getting no Disney Square Enix crossover book. For Magic the Gathering, let's see. I know at the end of this year they're releasing, let's see, an Innistrad's base set. So hold on, and I know this year too, they're doing a Forgotten Realms crossover set. So we'll get some D&D in our Magic for the Magic fans out there, which is pretty cool. Now we're seeing it go the other way. But let's see. I don't think. Okay, and then we're getting Strixhaven. That's right. So we get Kaldheim, then they're doing Strixhaven, which is their Harry Potter set. And then the D&D Forgotten Realms set, and then it's the Innistrad set. So if we don't see a Magic the Gathering crossover book, setting books within the middle of the year, because I don't think they would dedicate a whole book to Strixhaven unless they were really trying to angle the Harry Potter crowd. I would not be surprised if they did do an Innistrad setting book. Innistrad's interesting enough that, and there's enough elements in that setting to actually do a dedicated book to it. But I'm pretty sure that would piss off the fans of the Ravenloft setting. So we'll see if that actually happens. What other media franchises would you like to see in the D&D treatment? Honestly, my personal favorite's Dragon Age. That would have been cool, but I know they have their own RPG. I think Green Ronin publishes that one. Let's see. Elder Scrolls would be pretty sick. Like I Elder Scrolls would be pretty awesome as a as an RPG. I don't know if D&D could do it properly. But if they were to ever do a crossover for that, that'd be pretty sweet. And that's mainly like for fantasy. I don't know if there's other properties that I would see like, yeah, that translate. Like actually, one property I think would translate really well for a D&D, even though it's not a fantasy setting, would probably be Overwatch. It has a class structure and everything that would make it viable. Okay, so getting back to the stream a bit. All right, let's go. Now I want to get into the character ideas. So one, not everybody should take a Sherlock Holmes character or an investigative character into these whodunit or mystery investigative adventures or stories. Big thing is to draw inspiration from your favorite crime dramas, TV shows, movies, or even some like cartoons. They give you a good base of what other kind of characters you can bring to your party that'll be a little bit different, instead of everybody just playing your very cerebral investigative character. So the first one I recommend or suggest is the Kid Detective. So these are your Nancy Drews, your Hardy Boys, you know, the Mystery Incorporated from Scooby-Doo. Bringing these characters to the game brings a little bit more lightheartedness. You will be sort of maybe the comic relief a bit, but that at least makes it different. So you still attribute to the party without having to be the main high intelligence character. So classes I would probably recommend for this would be ranged fighters or ranged rogues using a sling. You want to do the Scooby-Doo thing, your Beastmaster Ranger is perfect. Any sort of bard, you'd be a high charismatic, character running around talking to everybody. But also an artificer that uses her gadgets, and if you take the inspiration from like the Goonies or Home Alone, you're that kid that uses toys and gadgets to kind of defend everything and protect your party from a bunch of stuff. So yeah, kid detective trope works pretty well. On its own, like the Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. would be a perfect D&D party if everybody decided to bring them all in that way. So if everybody did pick Fred, Velma, etc., and brought them to the major character group based around that, that would be like a perfect D&D setting group. All right, and then the next one I suggest is the Veteran Beat Cop. So this is the cop that is so close to retirement. He is pessimistic. He's tired all the time. He's seen everything. This is perfect for a character that low or no magic classes, most likely melee classes. So your fighter, your paladin, your rogue, melee based ranger. If you want to play up the drunken angle, drunken master monk is perfect for this. I personally played something similar to this during my group's Ravnica campaign. I played a goblin cop for the Boros Legion, and he was a beat cop. He hit the streets, and I played him as a Kensai monk because I wanted to play up the whole the agility speed thing, since he was a little goblin. But the veteran beat cop pairs really well. You can probably follow, I would say, like inspiration from like Roger Rabbit, the main character from there. Even though he's a detective, he plays sort of that trope of this hardened beat cop. Also pairs well, like if you and another partner want to do a buddy cop sort of setup. One can be the veteran beat cop, and then the other one can lean into the other trope, which would be the rookie. And the rookie can actually be played two ways. So you have the timid, very shy, isn't really sure themselves rookie. And then you have the wild card, cocky, very ambitious rookie, which pairs really nice with the veteran beat cop. You know, you can play up on your Rush Hour movies. You can play up the pretty much any cop duo movie that's out there. So you have, for the rookie, this is whatever adventure you guys are doing, this could be like their first big case. While in comparison to the veteran beat cop, this can be their last case. And then for the timid, sort of shy, needs to get out of the shell rookie cop, paladins are good even though they're high charismatic. You can play it as he's very by the book, so you can really lean into your oath. You're following the rules and don't really break them because they're too afraid to break them. And then, you know, use the character development to really get this character out of the shell so they can embrace that charismatic side. Clerics are the same way, and then you don't really have to worry about the charismatic element of the paladin if you go the cleric route. And then a wizard, because again, very cerebral, you want to follow the rules, things work in a certain way. I would recommend those sort of classes. But now if you're playing the cocky character, I didn't put the paladin on there. Paladin works perfectly fine. Barbarian, the rage mechanic kind of exemplifies just not really caring about stuff. You're just gonna go rage and just go into it. Again, bard is perfect if you want to play more charismatic, or sorcerer as well. Wild magic or anything within the sorcerer lets you lean into the charismatic and fantastic elements of just kind of just doing your own thing. Is perfect and would be interesting to bring to the table if you're going to play the investigative mystery game. Then, following, let's see, what's our next one? Next, we have the Inquisitive, this is your Sherlock Holmes. This is what most likely people are going to assume and think about bringing to the table when they hear mystery adventures. There still probably should be somebody that can actually, investigate. I just don't recommend everybody showing up to the table and bringing in an investigative character. Obviously, you're going to be very analytical, super analytical. You're going to look at every little detail and clue and try to really piece together what's going on. So, Inquisitive Rogues are built for this. And to some extent, an artificer. You mainly, with these sort of analytical characters, you don't want to rely on magic too much, or you want to have a low magic character, because the main idea for these characters is that they are really relying on their skills more so than on supernatural abilities. And then also, it's not like some of these tropes can overlap. You can actually mix match them, but if you just want to play a pure Inquisitive, it really comes down to low magic to no magic. You can probably even fit some of this stuff into maybe I want to say maybe a ranger, and maybe a bard, but as soon as you start getting to the more the higher, heavier magic classes, you turn into the next trope, which would be the occult detective. So these are inspired by for those familiar with comic books, John Constantine, Doctor Strange acts as this every so often, Zatanna, Detective Chimp, and then you also have from novels Harry Dresden from the Dresden Files. These are your standard occult detective, and this is where a lot of your D&D classes are actually going to fall under. They borrow some elements from the investigative, but they, instead of relying on their own natural skills, they rely on their trained or their ties to magic to really solve mysteries. So obviously, this is every spellcasting class. Your cleric is perfect for this. Knowledge cleric is actually probably really good for this. Druids fit this as well. Maybe they're not an occult detective for the urban environments, but they are the one. Say you're out in the village and stuff. This is the class or the character you call the druid, and they'll figure it out. Sorcerers are probably mixed a little bit with some of the other tropes because it's very they're charismatic, so they can actually start talking to people and kind of get to know them and lean in on the people aspect of it. Then you have your warlock, which is probably another one where it's probably the only place they really do fit. And you can probably play up your pact idea with this detective, where they are talking and trying to discuss with their patron about what's really going on, and whether they can help and ask the patron to kind of help them figure the mystery out. And then obviously the wizard, which is probably a hybrid of the occult detective and the investigative. But the wizard fits this hands down. They are the intelligence class. And to some extent, you can also play the artificer in this way too. You're using your magic and your gadgets to kind of figure everything out. But really, it does rely on your magic. One of the characters I have in the pipeline that I eventually want to play is probably a grave cleric or necromancer wizard detective. But I think I would rather take it as a necromancer wizard, as they mainly investigate crimes of murder, and they do use their knowledge of the dead to kind of help figure everything out. All right, is there any other tropes or any other ideas that you guys didn't see that you guys would think people should bring to the table if they were going to play in a mystery? Yeah, I like the occult detective. It's really easy to lean into. It's very natural to fit into D&D. But also, I probably would, for fun, I might bring in a kid detective character. Yeah. Pretty much the best place to look. I can drop a link in the chat right now. Pretty much all I did was Google TV detector tropes. Yeah, see, a bumbling detective would be fun. And it'd probably pair well. Say you didn't have the kid detective, but you need bring in a quote-unquote comic relief sort of lighthearted character. The bumbling detective would work, especially if they're going to be high wisdom. You could play that easily as a cleric. and say you had a inquisitive or occult detective character to bring in, this can be their Watson to some extent, or at least their sidekick, quote unquote, character. They have their uses and everything, but they're just the dots don't connect a lot. Oh, I'm going to. Okay, so I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. There is a ton. Just that right there alone, that link, there is a bunch more TV trope, cop detective type character tropes, that cover different kinds of genres too. So, I see that that there's the animal detective trope. Technically, you can play that if you are a druid, if you want to kind of go that route. Maybe you're a druid that does transform into a wolf or some sort of dog, and the only way you can solve mysteries is in your animal form. Yep, and the bumbling detective right there is known as a clueless deputy, a clueless detective. One that I sort of covered, but didn't really cover because I kind of pushed it in with the rookie would be the wild card. This is pretty much a trope that you see in every pretty much cop movie. These are the cops that don't follow the rules but somehow still get the job done. It's a really big power fantasy that we see in a lot of movies. But it also, I think that kind of character does really need a lot of trust with your party, and also a good understanding of like how to not hog up your screen time, because those kind of characters work really well obviously as your main character in a movie, but in a team environment, you kind of have to hone it in a little bit. Okay, now that's pretty much, yeah, those are the main ones that I see that fit well with D&D. I don't think there really isn't too much of anything else. I think the big thing now, if that's what's on, yeah, so that's one. This is a ways to approach these sort of mysteries. Who knows? Candlekeep releases in pretty much 2 months, and they might not even be actual mysteries. Like I said, they did this with Dragon Heist, and everybody assumed we were gonna do a heist adventure, and instead it was a treasure hunt. And this could just be more of the same of well written adventures that that you can just slot in, plug and play, and they don't really have a whodunit, or you're not really solving or need heavy investigative abilities. And I kind of hope too that not all the adventures are super heavy into investigative. There's other mental or even wisdom based skills they can rely on. There's nature, medicine, history that would work really, really well to also draw up information. Arcana is probably another big one that's going to happen that would be able to be used. But hopefully there's enough dynamic action that the rest of your other skill sets and other magic abilities will be used. Because one thing is combat should still be capable in these, and it shouldn't be as cerebral as everybody may be assuming it should be. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna move on to the end of this stream. Let's see, Candlekeep locations. I am not actually, before we go into the last part of the stream, okay, then let me look up some Candlekeep stuff. I am not as familiar with Candlekeep as I should be. I don't know. I'm just not big into Forgotten Realms lore. But I wanted to say, I can't confirm, and I'm probably speaking out of turn for this. The adventures were going to be structured in a way that they're kind of like everything starts in Candlekeep, and then you guys kind of go out of there from that point. So yeah, okay. There's Catacombs. So there's a ghost ghost of the Silver Dragon Mirim, who is bound to defend Candlekeep and avowed by the great sorcerer Torth. So that would probably be something you might see if you're stumbling around Candlekeep. I'm wondering though if they're going to use it as the main location or the main hub for a lot of these adventures. So okay, so here is, I'm just looking up at the Forgotten Realms wiki really quick. Cthulhu Lore says, I really want a more detailed Candlekeep description to be able to use that as an Academy patron style campaign. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. It really depends on how they really structure this book. They're really selling it as an anthology book. So I'm not entirely sure they're going to give us that information. But I'm not familiar enough with Ghost of Saltmarsh and that anthology book to really know if that's what they're going to be doing. I know with the Tales of the Yawning Portal, everything was just, here's this dungeon you can run, here's what's in the dungeon, here's the basic layout for the dungeon, run it. So if those that are familiar with Ghost of Saltmarsh, if that was kind of what they were giving out, I know mainly in setting books and stuff, they do give this information. And it would actually be pretty smart if they did add or expand or give descriptive stuff for Candlekeep in a specific area of the book. I have a feeling the way Wizards kind of structures their stuff, you might have to dig around in each adventure bit to kind of see if they're using that, and especially if each adventure is supposed to use Candlekeep as a hub. Notable locations for Candlekeep, as Rich mentioned, there's Catacombs. You have the Court of Air, which is a cobblestone courtyard of Candlekeep. Pretty much it's a big garden where guests can come and visit. It has a hearth, it has the House of Rest, and the House of the Binder, which is a temple dedicated to Ogma. Obviously, there's a great library, and then there's the vaults. So the way that this set up, it could be its own dungeon too. So we might see some of that in one of the adventures. I know one of the big things with this book, they are pushing accessibility and viability. One of the writers on there, Jennifer Kretschmer, is a big advocate for those with disabilities. So I know they're structuring, or at least wording, certain adventures that, one of her adventures specifically, will have I guess language that is very makes the adventure accessible to those with disabilities. Yeah, I honestly kind of hope, let's see what Rich said, the hedge mage in the garden, Feywild connection. I really hope they do draw up on some of the other stuff and have fun with it, and not just have everything be based in within Candlekeep. I don't know, maybe one of the adventures does, or maybe these adventures take you and warp you into the book, and each book is the adventure you kind of have to play out to kind of figure out how to get out of the book. So that way they can kind of draw on different areas without having to keep you in Candlekeep itself. You're in Candlekeep, but instead you're trapped in a book, and the mystery in the book is how you, and solving it will be the way how you escape it. That'd be one way they could probably tie all these together, which would allow them to conclude stuff like Feywild, Shadowfell, any of the other planes, any of the other cities, without having to really really make up any of like the traveling time or find ways to get you to those locations. They can just be like, well, you're going to Candlekeep. There's a set of books that are all sort of magical, haunted. As soon as you open them, bam, you're sucked into the book, and here's the adventure. And also be a way for them to kind of string these sort of books along, so you can be like, okay, well, we're gonna finish this book, then we'll go to the next book, and the next book, and the next book. And especially since we're going from 1 to 16, that could be a neat little campaign that at the end of it, maybe, you know, with some obviously some homebrew to get you guys to 20, and then finish the game that way. All right. Okay. So, Candlekeep looks fun as a player, and mainly the channel being player focused. I'm obviously you're probably not going to pick it up as a DM if you're needing a lot of stuff to fill in between adventures and your guys' main story. This is probably going to be a pickup for you. I myself may pick it up just to have some stuff in my arsenal that because one of my own personal goals is to possibly DM more. My group is heavily into Eberron right now. We love the setting, and unfortunately, since this is Candlekeep, I don't know if I'll be using this. I want to pick it up just to have stuff to be ready, but at the same time, I really love Eberron and would like more stuff for Eberron. So I know Keith Baker himself is working on some Eberron stuff for the DMs Guild, so maybe I can just put my money towards there. This is $50. It's it'll be pricey. You'll probably get it for cheaper on Amazon, unfortunately. It does come with an alternate cover. Let me see if I can pick this up fast enough so that you guys can see the alternate cover. Yeah, it comes with the alternate cover. They're doing really, they're leaning heavily into these alternate covers now. I kind of wish the alternate covers all had their own, what's it called? Had their own look also. Each alternate cover they've been putting out has a very specific, has their own unique identity. And I kind of wish even the alternate covers all kind of look uniform. They were kind of doing this with the Hydro covers. And then they decided to not. Okay, let me see if I can get. Okay, that's not gonna work. I'm just trying really quick to see if I can get. Actually, yeah. Hello, Jacqueline. Yes, I can actually probably convert these stories really quick and add them back into our campaign. I want to get back into that, or if you guys want to play different characters and try different things, we can do that too. As soon as everybody gets their COVID shots, I think we should be good to kind of start back up and meeting in person. But yeah, these are super easy to bring you back into the campaign. All of a sudden, you guys just stumble upon a library, and bam, Candlekeep. But yeah, like again, I think the nature of these is to drop in and drop out, and which can be super fun. I'm really hoping they're not. I'm hoping that they're not all heavy on investigation. I'm really hoping that they do change it up a bit and allow room for other types of adventures or characters to be viable in this. Give me a sec. I'm still trying to figure out where this. Okay, that's where I put it. Okay. Right now, my main group, the one I play actively in, we play through Discord and Roll20. So right now, that's what we're doing. Actually, tonight is our Eberron game, and we will be, I believe, wrapping up or close to wrapping up that adventure soon. Okay, found it. Okay, here's the alternate cover for Candlekeep. So they make it look like a nice little book that you can put on your shelf, which is pretty neat. Let me see if I can actually make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so this is the cover that you're gonna get with the alternate for Candlekeep Mysteries. It's interesting. I don't know. Everybody really liked Natasha's one. This one itself made to look like it's gonna fit on your shelf, so which is nice. It can fit alongside those. I don't know if you guys seen at Barnes and Nobles where they reprint the fairy tales and classic stories and classic novels like Moby Dick and stuff like that. That's pretty much what this is, I think, made to look like. Okay. Okay. So we're getting to the end of the stream. I just wanted to do a channel update. So some changes and plans for the channel coming this year. So as you can see, I'm doing a lot more visual changes and trying to make the channel have a very distinct look and style. I started this with a lot of Tasha's, and going forward this year, and actually on the next video, you're going to see I'm changing the font. I'm trying to add in more graphics to make the videos more visually appealing and easier and cleaner and a lot more interesting to look at. A lot of my earlier stuff you see is just text. So I want to clean up and have, if the text is going to be there, it'll be just something that's the main point, not too much. And also I want to change the font because the D&D font is nice, but it kind of, there's some technical stuff with it that does eat up some time because you constantly have to change a lot of stuff and it overlaps a lot. So having this new font is just very clean and easier to work with. And it's just something that will probably be dedicated, like it's my own style for the channel. Obviously too, this last year we got an official logo finally, and I'm not using the Goblin Guide art from Magic anymore. I finally have a logo I'm comfortable with for now. But yeah, that's mainly just visual changes. You're gonna see that, and I'm gonna continue to evolve and change and add new stuff to the channel to visually to help out. In terms of other stuff I'm doing to help out with videos, I got a new microphone. I set up a bunch of foam in the room I'm actually in right now to clean up the audio. The graphics, the programs I'm using a combination of, since I do not have Photoshop, I do have a copy of Clip Studio Art or Clip Art Studio or Clip Studio that runs for maybe like, I want to say anywhere from 35 to 50 bucks US dollars. It's mainly an art drawing program. It's mainly used to draw comic books, but it does have Photoshop elements in there. And also to edit video, I'm using DaVinci Resolve, which it's probably the best free video editing software out there. It's pretty much, you get a full video editing program with really no drawback or no pay stops, or you're not forced to pay money or a subscription fee to open the rest of the program like most other places, or you don't need to have a heavy investment like a lot of the Adobe programs out there where I believe now they do a subscription fee, or you're paying up front for a studio level video editing program. DaVinci Resolve is, I would say, studio level studio level stuff. There is a learning curve with it though. So if you do pick it up, I recommend it. Search YouTube for some of the basics, but as soon as you get the basics, you're pretty much set. Like there's a whole subsection within that program itself to build graphics, and I still have yet to play with that. And there's videos and stuff and tutorials online too on how to do that. Yeah, Keynote. Yeah, I believe I want to say Keynote's for Mac, right? Yeah. Yeah, Keynote. My PC is my PC, so I don't have access to Keynote. So it's a combination of those two programs. If you're looking for a free alternative to Clip Studio Art, you're probably better off getting GIMP, and maybe if you're able to modify it a little bit to work a little bit more like Photoshop. I know there's stuff out there and scripts and stuff you can install that will let it do that. So yeah, so combination of those two is mainly what I use for the visuals, well, for the channel. Other things I'm going to do, obviously I want to bring back more character builds. I kind of fell off towards the end of this last year because I was trying really hard to just cover everything on Tasha's. I'm going to finish up still doing Tasha's subclasses, and I'll get into more of what I'm going to do there a little in a second. But I'm going to bring back character builds more heavily. And obviously with my character builds, they're not going to be geared towards hyper optimization where you're going to be the best ranger, the best fighter, wizard, whatever. They're mainly going to be built and optimized to a specific concept. I'm just want to be doing a lot more of them. And thank you, Cthulhu Lord. I have fun doing the character builds. I fell off doing them because, Tasha was around. I was really trying to capitalize on that. But good thing is, unfortunately, I was trying to release a build video this past week. My new work schedule is kind of really weird right now, so I didn't get to finish it. So the next video on the channel will be a character build video, and I'm pushing it to be released by Monday to give me more time with it. And also to be able to kind of take a break so I don't do burn out and get tired between videos. So there will be a new character build Monday. And then there will still be a new video at the end of the week covering another Tasha class. So expect more build videos that do focus on character concept. I have a list, and that list is going to continue to grow as the year goes, especially if there's more product. The builds will be either focused on a specific character concept, or they will be focused on how to play a specific kind of character within a setting. I'm probably going to get back more into doing that. So like if you're going to play in a Ravnica setting for a second. All right, catch you later, Rich. If you're going to play in a Ravnica setting and say you want to play an Azorius character, boom, I want to have a character build out there. So you're going to be an Eberron and you're looking to play a Church of the Silver Flame or a dwarf, or a specific kind of dwarf from a specific clan, or a certain Dragonmark character. I want to have character builds there for that kind of stuff, that it's really more about the flavor and how to be the best with that kind of flavor. So you're going to see more of that. Also, I'm changing, you'll see in the next video how I'm structuring the build videos. I want them to be snappier and quicker and don't drag as much. So I did some structural changes to how I'm doing that. So hopefully that works out. And again, in the next video, let me know if it is a better improvement, or if you want me to go back, or even more suggestions. I'm totally open to criticism. Okay, and the next thing, there's going to be a bit of a focus change in the channel a bit. I want to encourage more roleplay. The original idea for this channel was to really hit on roleplay elements of the game. There's a lot of optimization and mechanic driven classes, and a lot of really good ones out there. But there isn't a lot of stuff that really does encourage roleplay or focus on the roleplay element of the game. There's a lot of places that talk about roleplay, but necessarily they still focus heavily on just the mechanics. So I'm gonna shift my formatting and lean into that more. And this is a lot due to a combination of feedback, looking at other content creators, and then wanting to really get back to my intent with the channel. So go support the other channels that are out there that are really doing covering mechanics and doing it in an interesting and fun way. It's not that I won't cover mechanics, it just won't be as heavy as a focus as I've been doing now with the Tasha stuff. And mainly too, this is to help the channel get its niche. That's really what it is. YouTube is really weird, and you really need to double down on what you feel you're comfortable and good at. And through a lot of feedback, that's really what was, is like focus more on roleplay elements. The next Tasha's video will give you a better example of what kind of changes you'll see. And I've already done some of this roleplay specific heavy or roleplay element stuff in like my feats videos that I put out. And even in the Tasha's videos now, there's that whole section about bringing character ideas and how to fit them into classes. So you're going to see a little bit more of that kind of stuff. Okay, and the last thing is I definitely want to do more collaborations. So I'm going to reach out to some other YouTubers. You saw Rich in the chat, hoping to collab with him. And then I'm going to reach out to a couple other, or another YouTuber group that that's been really supportive of this channel too. If you guys are familiar with Dungeon Class, I recommend go checking them out. I want to reach out to them and collab with them also, and same thing with Rich. Those two channels, they've been nothing but supportive and helpful. So I recommend checking them out. And then I'm gonna also reach out and see other YouTubers in general that I like their content, regardless of their channel size. The best way I think in this space, in this YouTube space, is really to collab and build a network and just be positive. That was like my big thing about coming into YouTube. There's a lot of negativity, especially this last year. And coming into this year, it's been really it's been a rough year. And there's just a lot of negativity out in this space, and I wanted to not attribute to that noise, and wanted to really just bring something positive into fruition, into being. So that's what I'm going to keep with this channel, and that's what, if you join the Discord, you'll see that there too. We will have there's meaningful and talks in there, but it's mainly it's for positivity, and that's mainly what it is. You just spread positivity and love to everybody, support everybody. So I'm going to reach out to other YouTubers that kind of share that mentality. I want to showcase other content creators too that do a lot of this, and we'll see what happens. See if I can, if that happens for sure. I'm going to reach out to Rich again, and I'll reach out to Dungeon Class guys and see if I can collab with them and reach out to more YouTubers and do that. Okay, and other than that, that should be the end of the stream. Wanted to give a shout out to some patrons. So 3 patrons so far, which is good. And honestly, I would never have thought that anybody would pay for this stuff, but I want to give a shout out to my dad, my first patron, my buddy Mondo, and then also the Pixel Junkie. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, and honestly thank everybody else for watching the videos, sharing, doing all of that. That really helps get the channel to a good place. But yeah, that should be it. Expect a new video on Monday, and then most likely another video on Friday. And then based off the way my work schedule is, we'll see if I'll be doing 2 or 1 video. My schedule's a little weird right now. So yeah. So again, thanks for everybody showing up the live stream. Join the Discord. There's a Discord link in the description. If you want to talk more about any of the stuff that's coming out, or you want to talk about builds, or you have builds or need help with character build ideas, or you just want to talk about D&D, join the Discord. Obviously, join the Patreon if you could support. Character build scripts are up there. You get dibs on the audio before the video actually comes out. and follow on the Twitter and Instagram. I've been been trying to post different content that I normally don't post anywhere else. So every Tuesday I drop a player tip or advice on there, as well as notifying people when videos are coming out. So again, thanks for your support. You guys have a good one.